But I tell you what, that's not the way the Trailblazers were wanting to go into the All-Star break as they get hammered tonight. 128-91, the final. The Timberwolves get the victory, and with that, they get the clean two-game sweep at Moda Center on Tuesday night and tonight, as now the Trailblazers will enter the All-Star break. 28 more games to go. 15 of those will be at home. 13 will be on the road. And now the Blazers will get a little over a week off. Their next game will come up a week from tomorrow night against the Denver Nuggets. But now we enter the All-Star break, and the Blazers get a chance to rest and recoup and refocus as they get ready for that final push, the stretch run of the NBA regular season. And we'll hear from Chauncey a little bit later in the show, and he talked about the advice that he gave the young guys tonight in terms of how to handle the break. And he wants them to get away from the game. Don't focus on ball. Don't watch ball, aside from Scoot Henderson participating in the All-Star weekend, and just get away from the game. Spend time with family. Do whatever you need to do to get right, but make sure you take advantage of the time to get the rest that is necessary, because it's such a grind, the NBA season. So many games in such a short period of time, a grind for all the guys, but particularly for the younger guys who are not used to this type of schedule. The vets who have been there and done that, they kind of know what to expect, but for the young guys who are absorbing this for the very first time, what an opportunity for them to get away and regroup and refresh and get ready for the stretch run. But tonight, the Minnesota Timberwolves, my big takeaway from the two games I saw here, on Tuesday and tonight with the T-Wolves, they're legit. Look, I don't know how they're going to fare in a 7-game playoff series against a team like Denver, but if you look at their makeup and the different players that they have on their roster, Mike Conley Jr. he's the ageless wonder, a veteran player who can defend. And I was talking about this with someone just a couple of moments ago. You've got him. Anthony Edwards is a very good defender. Rudy Gobert. They've got multiple guys on the floor, veteran players who engage and want to be a part of something special defensively. And so Coach Finch is able to take that and really just kind of mold them and push them and shape them in the right direction. And so they've got some veteran leadership. They've got a lot of length and versatility on their roster. They're deep. And when you get that with health and a bunch of guys playing for the same purpose who are locked in, you see what we get. One of the best teams in the NBA, and right now, enter the All-Star break, is the best team in the Western Conference. They're an impressive group. And even Chauncey Billups mentioned this after the game, and I've talked about this with Dwight and so many other people who have covered the league for years. It's been long known in the NBA that when you get up around All-Star break, like a week before, a few games before All-Star break, it's a time where you can steal wins. And that's because a lot of teams will check out and kind of take their foot off the gas because the All-Star break's right around the corner. And so a lot of teams will be looking to go out there and score some victories right around the All-Star break, because you can catch some of these teams, even the top contenders, sleeping a little bit or not paying attention to the details, and you're able to go out there and get the win. So even Coach Billups was interested to see how the Timberwolves would respond tonight. And we saw what happened. They erupted in the first quarter and built a 30-point lead, but then they took their foot off the gas, and the Blazers through the second quarter and into the third were able to chip it down to single digits before Minnesota poured it on again there to close out the third quarter. So they were locked in. They were focused. You see this once in a while, across the league, where you get certain teams that are just locked in, and they have one of those special seasons where from the start it's good. They continue to play hard and compete, and the Timberwolves are one of those teams. They're going to be a factor down the stretch, and in the postseason, they're going to be right up there with, the teams who are competing for home court advantage. And so we'll see how it all shakes out, but Minnesota's going to be right there. And with their length and their size and their willingness to defend, those are the type of things that you need to be successful in the postseason, and we'll see how that plays out for the Portland Trailblazers. And tonight for Portland, I guess overall, the first quarter was just awful. I mean, just a hideous first quarter. Not for one player or two players, but for the entire team. They weren't in it. They weren't making shots. They connected on 20% of their field goals. They were 1-9 from downtown. They were making mistakes, and Minnesota was getting to their spots and hitting everything. And before you know it, you're down 44-14. Now, I wasn't really sure what to expect after that, but I do admire the way that they battled back. They had a strong second quarter, put up 37 points on the board. They opened up the third on a 14-7 run and got it down to 8. And I thought, okay, this team's in a position to strike. And then all of a sudden, Minnesota just poured it on. And, you expend a lot of energy when you're trying to get back into a game like that. But what can you do? The other thing that jumped out at me with Minnesota is Anthony Edwards. Someone asked me before the game tonight, is he an MVP candidate? Well, he definitely should be. The reason why he is not going to garner more attention is because he plays for the Minnesota Timberwolves. No one really thinks about Minnesota. No one is really worried about Minnesota. They're not at the top of anyone's mind. They're not featured on national television. People don't talk about the T-Wolves. They don't have household names. They're not like the Warriors or the Suns or the Lakers or, some of the other teams that are well known. And so, therefore, Anthony Edwards is not going to get the type of attention that he would deserve for the type of season he's having. But when you're the best player on the best team in the Western Conference heading into the All-Star break, you definitely deserve attention for that. And we saw what he did here in the 2 games Tuesday and tonight here at Moda Center. It combined 75 points, and tonight, once again, terrific. 34 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds, and connected on 12 of 21 from the field. 3 of 7 from downtown. What impresses me the most about him is that, one, he's very strong, got big size, thick, long arms, great off the bounce. He can now pull up and hit the 3 from deep. He's got the mid-range game. He can hit the fadeaway. I mean, there's just so much he can do. And there were a couple of times tonight where he was well defended, but he was able to turn and fade and put in a ridiculous shot. That's what the great players do. They've got moves and offense that defense can't stop. And so you just tip the cap and say, okay, and then you move on and get ready for the next possession. I don't know what you can do. The other thing that we did get a chance to see tonight, Scoot Henderson and Anthony Simons. They were the starting backcourt, and Chauncey Billups let us know ahead of time before the game started tonight that would be your starting backcourt moving forward, that Scoot Henderson was going to move into the starting lineup, and he's going to remain there throughout the rest of the season. Tonight in the backcourt, Anthony Simons got 32 minutes, 31 for Scoot, and I thought Scoot had some good moments. You could tell that Anthony Simons was very irritated early in the game. He got a technical foul, thought there was contact, and didn't get the call, so he let the officials know it, got hit up with a tee, and he expressed some frustration throughout the course of the night. And part of that is what Billups alluded to after the game, that Minnesota is a very difficult challenge for Billups. With their length and their size and the way they defend, it's hard for Anthony to get off against the T-Wolves because he doesn't get the same type of space against the Timberwolves that he's accustomed to against other teams. And that's what you get tonight. A big bowl of wrong as the Blazers take the loss and they enter the All-Star break with a 128-91 defeat at the hands of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Back-to-back losses to the T-Wolves, and now Portland 15-39 as they enter the All-Star break. All right, fifth quarter chat doing live here from Moda Center. We'll come back. I'll give you a game recap. We'll get the shot of the night, and we'll continue to roll. 503-248-0620. Michael Shacker is with me. He's in Section 111. I'm up here at the Pines. 503-248-0620. Timberwolves get the win, 128-91. You've got the fifth quarter here on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio.
Henderson brings it up. He takes off and drives and kicks to the corner for Kamara. Three-pointer, tie game.
Tamani Kamara with the first 5 Blazer points.
Minute 25 gone by in this opening quarter. We're even at 5.
All right, light night in the association, final night before the All-Star break. 3 games on tap. In Memphis, the Grizzlies over the Bucks, 113-110. Giannis had 35 points and 12 assists in the loss. Milwaukee enters the All-Star break at 35-21. In Utah, the Warriors topped the Jazz 140-137. Klay Thompson had 35 points and 6 rebounds. Golden State 27-26 entering the All-Star break. Utah at 26-30. Colin Sexton had 35 points and 9 assists in the loss. And here at Motor Center, the Timberwolves topped the Trailblazers 128-91. They improved to 39-16, and they enter the All-Star break with the best record in the Western Conference. Anthony Edwards, another big night, 34 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists. Taking a look at the recap for tonight, the Timberwolves wasted little time getting to work. A Jaden McDaniels bucket gave Minnesota a 15-5 lead early in the first, forcing a Trailblazers timeout. The Wolves then erupted for a 24-6 run, opening their lead up to a commanding 39-11 with just over 2 minutes remaining in the first. The first quarter ended with Minnesota holding a 44-14 advantage thanks to a Anthony Edwards three-point play with 2.3 on the clock. Portland just shot 20% in the first quarter. They were 1 of 9 from downtown. Portland got a steal and a dunk from Jabari Walker as Portland opened the second on a 22-11 run to cut the deficit to 19 at 55-36. The Blazers outscored the Wolves 37-22 in the second to cut the deficit to 15 at 66-51 going into the locker room at halftime. Portland in the second on fire, 65% shooting. They were 4 of 7 from downtown, and Ant led the way in the quarter with 11 points. In the third, Portland continued to scrap and fight and cut the deficit to 10 at 73-63 with 7:52 to play in the period, following a bucket from Tamani Kamara. And then another bucket cut the deficit to 8 at 73-65, and then Minnesota went on another tear. They closed the quarter on a 26-11 run to push their lead to 23 at 99-76 entering the fourth. Edwards had 15 points in the period for Minnesota, and Portland did not threaten the rest of the way. For the Timberwolves tonight, 34 points, 7 assists as Anthony Edwards led the way. They got 23 points and 8 rebounds from Karl Anthony Towns, who was 8 of 13 from the floor. They got 17 points from Jaden McDaniels and 12 points, 4 rebounds from Mike Conley Jr. Off the bench, Naz Reid with 10 points, and that's pretty much how it went down. The Timberwolves shot 51% tonight. They were 11 of 30 from downtown for 36%, and they committed 14 turnovers, leading to just 5 points for the Trailblazers. Portland tonight, led by Jeremy Grant, who had 20, 15 points, and 4 assists for Scoot Henderson on 5 of 12 shooting, who got the start tonight. He played 31 minutes, and Anthony Simon struggled 12 points on 4 of 15 shooting, and he had 6 assists. Off the bench, Jabari Walker with 8 points and 4 rebounds. The Blazers tonight shot just 37%. They were 8 of 29 from downtown for 27%, and they committed 15 turnovers, which led to 16 points for the Minnesota Timberwolves. And there you have it. 128-91 is the final. Chad doing here in the fifth quarter. Let's go out to the newest member of Rip City, Joe, out in Buffalo. Joe, what's up, my man? Long time no chat. What's cracking?
Hey, brother, how you doing? Just hanging out in here and staying indoors because we have gusts up to 40, 50-mile-per-hour winds. It's not steady 50, but it's staying around 15, 17, and it's gusting up to 50. So pieces of houses are coming off. So, you know, Buffalo stuff, you know, just that old stuff. How you been, man?
Very well, dude. Looking forward to the All-Star break and getting a chance to get a little bit of a breather. But, you know, I'm like you. I'm enjoying watching the development of the young players. And I was very excited tonight when Chauncey Billups announced that Scoot Henderson would be in the starting lineup tonight and for the rest of the year. So I'm looking forward to sitting back and watching him develop, and also watching the on-court chemistry between him and Ant, because Billups made it clear in the postgame that he's going to focus on having both those guys work off the ball so that they can become more dynamic players. So that process of development over the final 28 is going to be fun to watch.
That's good, and that's just going to be key to our future success as well. I mean, obviously, if you can get just the work that those two do by themselves, just the type of like value you get from those two alone. Could you imagine those two on the same page, and it would just be nuts. And that's just from your guards, and we don't even have we don't even know what's going to. That's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about tonight was what's going to happen with this roster when everyone's healthy. I mean, like, because we don't know how it's going to break down. When Sharp comes back, sure, there's time distribution. We can share, who gets what. But, like, really, when Scoot is ready to be, elite, which I don't think we're too far from that, and then he's got, Brogdon to go with him, I mean, there's your guards. Now, what do we do with the forwards? You got Robin. We talked about Williams is coming back. Robert Williams, sorry. And you got Ayton, who I never realized how much of a rebound machine this guy can be. Ayton is a beast. So there's a lot. I was getting hassled a bit for the post that I did on Twitter right out of the gate saying, like, I like the energy. I'm feeling this one because no one was expecting that amount of a whooping in the first quarter. But they still, I mean, they pulled it in. They got it close, man. And what I feel like it was like, like when you were in middle school, high school, and it was like the last day before like Christmas break. And so like gym class hit, your gym class hero. You're just doing like, you're not even thinking about like, oh, like I'm gonna like stink the next period. No, you're just letting it all out because like who cares? You don't have to see these people for 2 weeks. Or like they weren't doing the fundamentals because it's like your homework. I'm not gonna have to do this for 2 weeks. Like they were just going out there and playing as hard as they could, knowing it's the last game for a while. And the coach said it himself. They're burnt out. Especially the young guys. They're not only physically but mentally, especially. And so I feel, but if you listen to any interview from the new guys or anyone with a microphone up to their face, they ask how coach has them do it. And what do they say? They always say aggressive. They want them to play aggressive. And you could see the guys were playing aggressive, but I think they were taking like shots that they knew they shouldn't have. Like, I think they were just kind of going out there a little too aggressive. Their brains weren't in it. Like Coach said, they're just mentally exhausted. And, like, I was thinking the whole, like, Christmas break, like, theory is, like, kind of what I'm going with for this. It's just, like, the last game for a little while. Let's see what we can do. Let's enjoy ourselves. At the same time, let's try to rob a victory, like Coach is also saying. But it's just, I think, being young, that's going to happen. And being close to the All-Star break, I think anyone's capable of, misjudging themselves like that, if that makes sense. But I did want to talk to you about the roster breakdown, what you think is going to happen with our forwards going forward. That was corny. Sorry about that. And because I know I was looking at our salary cap, and I see that we're down over $30 million coming into the off season. I know a little bit about the off season and how it works in the NBA, but so are we thinking of like offloading someone? Like, do you think down the line? Do you think is Grant here to stay? Like, I don't know much about Grant. I found he's a locker room like joy. Like people love having him around. So, but like he wasn't brought in with the intent of being like an all-star, right? He's just like a starter.
Yeah, he's a starter, a steady vet, and they like him on the roster right now because, one, he plays a position where they really don't have anyone that can replace him. He's also considered like the OG in the locker room where guys can go to him for advice and stuff. He's kind of the quiet leader type. From everything I've been told, the Blazers don't have any plans in the immediate future to move him. I think somewhere down the line, but I fully expect Grant to be back next year at power forward.
Yeah.
I think Jabari Walker has carved out a role either as a starter or coming off the bench. I think the number one player at the top of the list to get moved during the course of the offseason, maybe around the draft or right around free agency, would be Malcolm Brogdon. And I think I forgot who told me, but it would be great. Like if they move Brogdon, obviously you could be looking at draft picks potentially, but they're also interested in young players. So if you could move Brogdon and be able to get a young forward that could play and be able to contribute, that'd be the perfect way to do it. So I think
Sure.
Jeremy Grant is definitely going to be here next year, I would think, and then also Jabari Walker will be here. So if you can move Brogdon and get a young player that plays forward, that would be very interesting to see how that plays out.
And there are a couple big guys coming up in this draft that you can get even late. I don't think we have our first round pick. I think we got Golden State's first round pick.
No, the Blazers have their pick and the Warriors pick, so they have two first round picks to work with in the upcoming draft.
Ooh,
yeah, they got both.
Okay, there's some good big guys in this, centers and forwards like P.J. Hall and oh God, what's the other kid? I won't go through the whole thing just yet. We got the off season to talk about that, but in general, in the spirit of the All-Star game. I went over like how All-Star Game started. I just figured like they did it for fun and like, hey, let's just see what the best guys for like, let's get the best guys and just see what happens. That's not true. All sports have different reasons for All-Star games. I didn't notice. Baseball was the first one to do it essentially in 1933. They did it because of the Great Depression and they all sorts of different charities and stuff like that because our economy was, pretty beaten up. Then it kind of followed suit with the NFL before the merger, just the National Football League. The thing that was crazy about the way the football leagues did it, though, like I won't go all the way into. I don't want to hog the air, but the American Football League was nuts. They would have the for a preseason All-Star game. They would have the defending AFL champs play an all-star team of senior college players, which they didn't lose all the games either. If I could get the fact up here, it was you think like it would just be a bloodshed every time, like it was just no chance that these college kids would stand a chance against it. But they won. It was like 39 games were won by the pros out of like a total of 50, just over 50 games. So it's like, damn, that's not honestly that bad. To think that
Dude, that'd be pretty awesome, though, if they took the NBA All-Star game and they put the stars up against some of the best college players. That'd be fun to watch and see how that played out.
Yeah, the only reason why they had to stop was because they kept hurting all their. Once the draft was officially became a thing, they were like, I don't want to keep hurting my number one prospect. I don't want to draft this guy first overall and then destroy him. But so I was looking for. I was like, why are All-Star games a thing? Why like the All-Star break? And I wanted to see if there was like an extra meaning behind it. I don't know. I'm that kind of guy that's like oh, there's got to be a reason for it. It's like, no, sometimes things are just things. So, but I gotta say, I've been listening to you since the Drive show, man. You are
yes.
You need an All-Star break, my brother. You have been. How long, if you don't mind me asking, how long have you been in radio? How long have you been doing this?
I got my start back in like 99, 98, 99, and I've been doing it full time for, let's see, about 16 years.
Dude, that's awesome. I could dude, and you know what? Your best quality. I mean, you get great stuff out of the person you're working with, which is just great in a host, obviously. But your voice, you don't do that like fabricated voice. You know what I'm talking about? Have you ever worked with a guy that did that like that? Oh, that like, hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Joe from Buffalo. It's 29 degrees Fahrenheit. The traffic's kind of blocked up out there, and tell your boss it's not.
No, dude,
like,
you come across those guys. Yeah, you come across those guys once in a while. I was covering a title game for college down in Arizona once, and I was like this radio row that we were at. I was sitting across from this guy. I think he was on satellite radio, and every time he would pop the mic, he had that fabricated voice. I thought it was comical. I did. I thought it was great.
Would he just talk to you normal, and then it's like, yeah, it's a pretty good game. All right, so yeah, we're all knotted up here at 15. Like, is that how it was?
Yeah.
Or was it?
Yeah. When he was talking to you off mic, it was normal, but as soon as he popped the mic, it was like he would go right into radio voice. I thought that was funny. I enjoyed it.
Oh, that's awesome. Hopefully we see less of that, but it's still out there, man, and it's on the airwaves out this way in Western New York, and I can't stand it. So it was refreshing to listen to, what'd you do, like 7 hours of radio today and not a bit of the fabrication. So well done,
that's
my
right.
friend. Do you have any plans for the All-Star break? You get a break too, right?
Yeah, because I don't have to cover any games, so just normal work. So just get a chance to catch up on my rest and then get ready for the stretch run, man. It's going to be nice. But, dude, I'm glad you called in tonight, Joe. You're the man.
Absolutely, man. You're the man, dude. I appreciate you having me on, and this is a blast doing this, dude. enjoy your break, and I will be listening to the Drive Time show as well. And that show's a little more intimidating. You got some really smart callers on that, so I don't know. I'll call in once I feel myself on that one, but we'll talk. If you ever need a wingman, just let me know. I got your back, man. I have so much fun doing this, and I thank you for inviting me into Rip City. I'm here for the long haul. This game was a blast tonight, a lot of intensity, and I still think the future is bright. So just hang tough, everybody. We got this. Go Trailblazers. Thank you, Chad. You have a good rest of your show, my brother. I'll be listening.
You got it, man. There you go, Joe in Buffalo. Our man. Love it. All right, appreciate the phone call, Joe. Blazers now enter the All-Star break. Next game will come up a week from tomorrow as they take on the Denver Nuggets. 7 o'clock tip here from Motor Center. We'll come back, and when we do, we're going to step into What's the Scoot and focus in on Scoot Henderson. We got some great news from Coach Billups about him before the game tonight, and then we'll step into the Coach's Corner and hear from Chauncey Billups. Final score tonight from Motor Center, the Timberwolves over the Trailblazers, 128-91. You've got the fifth quarter on 620 Rip City Radio.
obviously, after coming out after that first quarter, you're down 30. That's a tough pill right there. You don't see that often. But they did. They came and did what they had to do. And I was just proud of our bunch for we cut it in half. Halftime we down 15. And I just told us, you're not gonna get it back quickly, but let's see if we can cut it in half again. Now we down single digits going into the fourth. And I thought we did a pretty good job. We fought. We was hanging in there in the third quarter, and we're still okay. We're still okay. And then, man, they just got away from us, in particular in that fourth quarter. And into the third and fourth, they just kind of got away from us a little bit.
You guys run out of gas from pushing back, or?
Yeah, I mean, you got to be able to make shots, man. You got to be able to make threes. You got to be able to make in this league. You just do. So you almost have to. You get down 30 points in the first quarter. You almost have to play perfect with shot making to have a chance to win that game. And we did as good as we could, man. We cut it to 8 after being down 30 to the best team in the Western Conference. I mean, shit, I was proud of our guys for scrapping, for fighting, especially, a game like this. One thing that impressed me the most about this game for them is I've always thought in my time, like right around All-Star break, is you can steal games. You can steal games for teams that aren't focused. So I wanted to see, if we were going to be able to do that tonight. And they hopped right on us and did what they had to do. So I was very impressed by that. It tells me a lot about their team and their focus, Everybody played. Everybody, was locked in. They came out with a really aggressive mindset early. I was very impressed by that. I really was. So, we had to see the other side of that, obviously, and it wasn't fun, but that's what big-time championship contending teams do.
What did you make of how Scoot played in the role?
Yeah, I thought he was good. For the most part, just kind of pushing it. I don't think anybody was great in that first quarter, so I'm not going to judge anybody and say, oh, they was this, they was that, this what happened. No, I'm not doing that. That first quarter was terrible for all of us, but overall, just overall, I thought he was solid. He did what he needed to do.
Talking to Tu the other day after the game, he mentioned that going to the bench, having a talk with you was kind of helped him kind of reorient and understand his goals. What do you think you've seen from him in the last couple of games and starting him and where he's making his growth or decision-making changes? I know you called that timeout and you pulled him to the side tonight. Yeah. Is it just kind of like a management thing, the expectations, or is it honing in on individual things with him?
It's always with these young guys, it's a little bit with Tu, a little bit with Bari. Those guys are like fifth starters type dudes. You can kind of rotate them. You never know who. It depends on the matchup. Who knows? And I felt like with big chunks, there's been times when they haven't understood that part, and they kind of let relax. And none of those guys are good enough to relax. You got to always be doing the small things, and you always got to be playing harder than everybody. And when I see that you're not, it's time to do something different. And that's just me coaching. That's just me coaching them. But I think since I've kind of put him back in, he's playing with that fire that earned him the job in the first place, So it's a long season, man, and these guys are used to playing 30 games. And we're far past that already, so, that mental break, as I told them all now, man, just leave this alone for a few days. Get away from it. Just try to forget about it. We'll get back to it soon, but it's a real thing, man. It's, it's a lot.
Guys What's the advice you gave to the young guys? Is to just get away from the game for a few
Yeah,
years?
yeah. I told them all. I told Scoot, you got to be there, so go win MVP, and everybody else just get away from it. You know, only thing I want y'all to do is watch Scoot. After that, leave it alone, man. Leave it alone. Get away from it. Go love on your family, and do whatever it is that fills your cup, and then we'll get back to it because this thing will wear you down.
What worked best for you that you found during your playing days for that break?
During All-Star weekend?
Yeah.
Well, I would always try to go away if I could. The times that I wasn't involved in All-Star weekend, I would just try to go away. Cabo has always kind of been one of my favorite spots. Hawaii, too. So I would just try to get away and get away from it. And the only thing I would do is some cardio, you know, just in the mornings, just so I don't lose too much. But literally, when I wasn't in part of All-Star, I didn't watch anything. I literally left it alone, just to try to recharge my battery a little bit so I can be ready the following week.
What are you doing this?
All right, there was Chauncey Billups. You know, I really thought that what we heard there from him was exciting because we know before the game he announced that Scoot Henderson was going to be in the starting lineup the rest of the way. And that's great because I want to watch him develop. But what I love about what he said there after the game is that he is really going to set both Ant and Scoot up into a position where they have to learn how to play off ball. And when you got two young players who are great on ball, I mean, that's fine. But in order to go to the next level, in order to become a dynamic player, to be one of the greats, you've got to be able to do it both ways. And so if he can use that situation to get both those guys in a position where they can run the ball with the ball in their hands and facilitate and initiate the offense, that's fine. But we're also going to make you get into situations where you've got to learn to move off ball and become dynamic. And I think that's the great way to do it with these two guys. And so they got 28 games to go. And as I mentioned before, player development is number one. That's the big priority. But after that, you know, in that development is, you know, teaching these guys the way that you want them to play and how you want them to produce, which I'm going to have a lot of fun watching it. So it's going to be great. Scoot Henderson is playing his best ball right now, and he's going to get more of an opportunity as things continue to fly on. Tomorrow morning, Justin Myers will have Rip City Mornings, which will start at 6. And then Dwight and I are back with the Rip City Drive at 3. Our next Trailblazer broadcast is going to come up 1 week from tomorrow, Friday night, which is going to be on the 23rd. The Denver Nuggets will be in town. Tip-off from Motor Center will be at 7, with game day starting at 4:30. Our final score tonight from Motor Center, the Minnesota Timberwolves top the Portland Trailblazers 128-91. From Michael Shacker, I am Chad Doing. I appreciate your time tonight, my friends. Enjoy your night, and we will talk to you tomorrow